Hello, everyone. Welcome back to MDS. We are so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. If you have been rolling with us, God bless you. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the sharing. Thank you for telling a friend that told a friend that told another friend. Thank you so much for keeping watch. Thank you. And today's topic is a very interesting topic. It cuts across the board. It's ongoing in our society. Lots and lots of challenges. And a lot of young marriages suffering untimely crash, arguments. And today's topic is none other than common challenges in marriages. And today we have no other person sitting across me today with a smile and ovation. I welcome my delightful Dr. Gift Nwankwo. She's not just our guest today. She's a marriage counselor and she is coming in with her expertise on the matter, being herself married for over 20 years. We give God all the glory, and we are so excited to have her sitting here to share with us some of these common challenges and how we can go about trying to make sure they don't allow marriages to crash. Mama, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Correction, over 33 years.
Over 33 years, oh! This is like when you hear expertise that someone owning their space, she's not just having a doctorate or whatever. You know, when you're a marriage counselor, you've seen this thing come to your table over and over. You've mastered the craft, and she's also here sitting in that place of expertise to share with us in her own opinion.
Thank you. And like I always say, if you cannot define a problem, you cannot find a solution.
Exactly.
So we have to understand what is marriage. The coming of two people or two things as one. So marriage in this particular sense would be a relationship of two people resulting to a wedlock, or relationship between two people either by custom, tradition, or by law that they are together, and this is what we call marriage.
Yes.
Now, you can imagine two people from two different backgrounds. Definitely, you don't expect them to have the same understanding. They must have disagreements here and there, or because of their background, where they are coming from. So it's for us, when we come together, we try to understand each other and make it work. Oftentimes, I always say marriage is a business relationship, or marriage is a partnership, because in business, definitely you have a division of labor, where someone is a director, someone is a manager. I mean, you can't have two managers, you can't have two directors, so you have to understand. So when you come together as husband and wife in a marriage, you have to know who is the manager, or you must identify our responsibilities. You must identify the do's and don'ts. You must identify duties. So if that is done, and I always say, in the place of courtship, those things need to come into play. You must have everything put on the table and you discuss it.
Exactly.
I always say, the food you eat must be talked about. The bed you sleep must be talked about. The clothes you wear, you must talk about it.
Exactly.
And you must find a way to communicate. I have a husband that does not like buying clothes or wearing. He's not a fashionista. And if you leave him, he can wear one cloth, wash it, the next day wear it. And I know that he doesn't take anything from me. That does not make him a dirty person. But you know, if I want him to change those clothes, I am the one that I've put myself in the place that I have to change these clothes. You change it.
Understand.
If you don't change it, but I don't go about fighting him. Why are you wearing this thing? Why are you? Because that's his lifestyle. That's him. And because I've come to understand that that's him. But you know, there's some. Okay, let me also look at it from this angle. There are some people that will not be as flexible as he is, even though he does not like changing. There are some men that will say, "Don't touch it. This is me. This is how I want it." You know? But you see, it is in the place of courtship I should have identified and say, maybe then it was actually changing his clothes. You know, maybe I didn't know it probably. But it was something I didn't notice. I really did not notice it. But you see, today, if we had talked about it, I would have known. And that's why I advise young couples or young people that want to get married.
Talk about
everything and anything. It's better to have
make such comments.
a failed engagement than to have a
failed marriage.
So
wow. How do we handle, with all these differences and with the present economic situation, in as much as communication is a key thing now? When you hear key, it's like, in fact, it looks like communication is the only key, because now everything is on the table to be talked about. With the current state of things, women are hunting, things are now expensive, men are coming, it's not also easy. How do we navigate these financial imbalances? And how do we also come to a place of understanding where we create room for everybody to be expressive and create that balance, because things are just generally difficult now. So in that area now, what is the advice, or what are the modes to be put in place to keep marriages stable?
It's still the same thing, because everybody knows everything before. If we had talked about it, we know that today it's not as it used to be yesterday.
Exactly.
So except it's just somebody who wants, like every home has a way. I always say every home has a tradition, a custom, and how they do things.
Exactly.
If it's a home where money is being given by one particular person, be it the man or be it the woman that brings the money, you also know that if I used to give 10,000 naira before, today, things are no longer the same. Nobody needs to preach. Nobody needs to tell you. You up it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Because you can tell.
Because, you are also in the system. So you
economy,
know.
Yeah.
So if, if a husband and wife are in sync, or they talk with one voice, is a no-brainer.
Exactly.
Except where this finances would be like where something that we want to hit our head and kill our head, is when there's already a crack. People don't do things together, or people don't walk the same walk.
I know.
But if you walk the same walk, we all know how everywhere there's inflation everywhere has changed. So automatically you up it. So that's why, people talk about budgeting. Budgeting work when you have a source. When you have a source. I remember those early stage when I was married, my husband is an accountant, and for everything you want to do, you must have a list. You must, but at a time, yes, and it also helped me, because at every point in time you see me with my bag, there's always a list in my bag. And even till today, if I spend my money and I cannot remember how I spent it, I am not myself. So I'm always having sheets of paper where I write down things and to do my to-do list, or how I spend my money.
Exactly.
Even if I'm giving it out, I want to know who I gave it to and how I did
spent it.
Yeah, so it's also, some homes will say, like I always tell the young people, when we got married was different than what it is today.
Exactly.
Any man who marries now and the wife is a sit-at-home woman, not contributing, already we failed before we started. Times have really changed. When I do my training, when I talk to young couples who want to get married, I always ask, are you working as a woman? And I jokingly tell them, if she's not married, please don't marry her. But I mean it. Because lack of money. Oh my goodness. You can't even explain it. Lack of money you wake up in the morning, you are angry. You go to sleep, you are angry.
I know.
Even no matter how nice
struggle
the person is. So it's good. Struggle. Even though the man is the breadwinner or the man contributes 100%, you as a woman do something that can enable you. In fact, why I believe strongly that a woman must really work. There was a time that my kids, they were small. There were about, I think, 3 of them. And my son said, Mommy, we used to have one malam on my street. And anytime we're coming back from school, like, Mommy, how come you don't buy this kind of bread? Those round bread that they used to have. I said, no, that's not the one we eat. So one day he came and said, Mommy, I want to eat bread. I'm hungry. I said, there's no bread in the house. And I said, and I want to eat malam's bread. He was specific. Thelma, I checked my bag. There was no money. Not even 20 naira. That day I wept and I told myself, never again will my child be looking for bread. I won't be able to buy bread for him. And that has been what has been motivating me. And I'm saying, you know what? Even if the man is there bringing everything, you as a woman, this is something to do. You must. And those days are gone. Today, if a woman is not working or a man is not working and is only one income in the home, is a no-no.
It's a big no-no. It's a no-no because everything at this point counts. But there's another thing that is actually like, I know whatever we say now, you take it back to a lot of communication. But what about those that have failed to have, established that wild range of communication, like you mentioned, which we've taken note of today, because we're going to be singing it as time goes on. Whenever you're here, we're going to keep reminding, women that is important before your children get into marriage. Encourage them to enter into like a very uncommon way of open book communication in every area. But for those that have found themselves already in marriage without these issues being put in place, how do you manage individuality in marriage in order to have a healthy marriage? Because whereby we have jumped that hurdle, now you are now in the problem. So now we don't want, because of this problem, to have a broken marriage. How do we create that balance? How do we do the reverse mechanism?
What I put things in place at that point, it boils down to intention. You have found yourself in a mess. I always say, you that is wearing the shoe, where it pinches. So you have to ask yourself, what do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? How do I correct myself? When your intentions are pure, and like I always say, you must know the problem, identify the problem,
exactly,
accept it that is a problem.
Exactly.
Then now we begin to say, how do I solve this problem? There's some difficult partners. It could be a woman, it could be a man, that we just, this one, I cannot take it. This is the way my father said, this is the way my mother said. But one party that wants to make it work, you live a life of denial. And you must say, you know what, because I want this to work, I will try everything in the books, both natural or unnatural, to see how I can get this right. You're just going back, slip the slip and go back. Because if your intentions are pure, no matter how that other partner is difficult, if you change yourself for the situation, it will help to a large extent.
Wow. We can't help it, but what I would want the camera, for you to look into the camera and speak to these young couples, those that have found themselves without this broad range of, foundation of communication, and also those that are making plans to go into it. There are some pointers and things we would like you to specifically mention, because I'm seeing that there's a lot of rush. A lot of singles are not willing to serve the Lord with the time that they have now. Everybody seems to have a focus of a prayer point, but I know for sure that there is time and the season for everything. But sometimes time and that impatience brings in, and you see them marrying for the wrong reasons. But I want you to put a word out there, something that could be like a watchword or a lookout for some of these primary things that can lead to challenges that they ought to look out for. And they say stitching time saves 9. I think that's the area that really touches my heart, because at this point in time, we really sure do have a lot of situations where you and I know a lot of breakup left, right, center. We're not saying we're perfect. We're actually here to unlearn and relearn. But at the same time, there are things, would like you to just put a little brainers on, that one can actually program themselves to avoid this mayhem from happening. Even mothers that are watching, you can also listen to advise your children in the nearest future.
For me, I always say intention. Intention. What is your intention in this relationship you want to start with? A lot of people say mothers have failed. Most mothers just know what they know, and what whether they were taught or they were not taught, but they just know this so little. You understand? So, if your intentions are pure and your partner's intention is also pure, we will get it right. It's not, I always say, in the place of courtship, this man tells me, I like you, and it's okay, we're going to live together. Most of us don't study. In as much as we study the Bible, we also have books that you have that can help you. I remember when my son was a teenager and had issues in school, I had to tell myself the truth. I said, hey, this is my first son. I'm not a dunce. The father is not a dunce. So I had to go back to school because of this boy. And I bought a book, The Psychology of Training a Teenage Boy. I don't like to live in denial. I don't pretend. People who know me, they say, when you want to talk about your problem, you tell the whole world, you shout. Because I don't know where help will come from. Yeah, so I got this book, How to Bring Up the Teenage Boy, and it shows a graph. And it says, when the 14, 15, 16 is the crisis area, if you're able to break that boy to listen and do what you want, then you've gotten the child. But if you miss that 14, 15, 16, then there's a problem. So with that helped me in bringing up my boy. Likewise in marriage. I told you I got to the age of 40 for me to say, wow, I've been goofy. This man don't send me away.
I know.
I always believe that in as much as we look for help everywhere, you as a human being, it has to start from you, from your within.
Yeah.
Do I want this? If I want this, what will I sacrifice? What will it help me? What will I do to get to that point? So basically, get your right intentions. Ask yourself what you want. It's an instruction. Man will leave his father and mother, cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. We obey that instruction. Now, how do we live together?
Exactly.
How do we live together?
Exactly.
We must ask that question. Let's not be in a hurry. You can ask your father, you can ask your mother, you can ask a friend out there, your friend's mother.
Exactly.
You can ask your pastor, but ask somebody who is living, not who says it, who lives it, who knows it, who lives it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Who lives it? Being married for 33 years, I will not tell you it's an easy ride in the park. I didn't even know my left from my right. But I just take it that it's the grace of God that has kept me here. But immediately I turned 40, I started retracing my steps. I started living a life of forgiveness. I don't even see anything that my husband would do to me that would be so
unforgiving.
You understand, And sometimes when I look at my children, I'm so fulfilled. I'm like, where am I going to? Nowhere. So it has to come from you. Because when I see some people, some women or some men say, I know go agree, they are not considering a lot of things.
I know. You can say that again.
They're not considering a lot of things.
You can say that
so
again.
So it has to be from you. Nobody can force you to do what you don't want to do.
Exactly.
You're not saying because Thelma is like this. So Thelma's one is working for Thelma. Do you know, if you go and behave the way Thelma is behaving, the other person can just throw you away.
Yeah. These challenges are as real as they come, because, this is us just talking about it from one aspect, because I will come from the aspect of, intermarriage, intertribal marriage. And I can tell you from coming from my own foundation, intertribal marriage is not for the faint-hearted at all. It's not for children. That you're Igbo, you marry an Igbo person, or you're Yoruba, you marry, you don't know what God has done for you. That is the half of the problem solved. But when you're an Igbo woman like I'm coming from a different set of value upbringing, and marrying another tribe altogether that I have no clue about, and having lost my mother at an early stage, not even seeing someone that will tell you, this is how marriage holds, pipe it down and all of that, having to face all the challenges that come from intertribal marriage, I can tell you it's not for children. And anybody that paints it easy out there is not telling you what it is. So these challenges will come, and one of them is actually one of the areas that bring up challenges are intertribal marriage. And I feel like it comes from a place of not having the same values. I, as an Igbo woman, I was trained in a certain way, and I was sent off to marriage with a certain ideology. I was verbally programmed in my head, even without knowing it. Even having lost my mother at a young age, I still felt programmed while I was in my marriage. And for that, having heard from you that up until you got to the age of 40, I would say at this point, I'll say I'm a bit lucky, because I had passed 40 and my marriage just turned 20 in December. And I can tell you that something hit home, because for a long time, my mother kept or had, programmed me years and years ago, before the woman passed and went on her way, on her journey, that, when you get married, you don't come back to your father's house. There are things they tell us in Igbo land, like, there's no room for you here again. Once you're married, you can't come back. It looks like you are sent somewhere and you're stuck there. It's not a very good ideology to leave a child with. That's one. But I also know that kept me in a quest, to go into this family and want to belong there, because I feel like I've been sent on my way. So that's like, you have to succeed when you're there. You don't have a choice. You can't come back. So you get there and you're giving it your all. For me, it kind of becomes a mind prison, because, intertribal marriage, different upbringing, different values, people who have grown up together, they have formed a relationship on their own. You're trying to be a number that doesn't exist. Maybe the woman has already had 6 children, you now came into the marriage, maybe you and 2 people are almost the same age mate, so you don't fit in anywhere. You're struggling to find your feet in that marriage, and it went on forever for me. It was like a torment. That torment is because I feel I was programmed. I was programmed to say, when you get there, you see that place, you don't have any choice. But yes, you can succeed without being imprisoned, because without, you're looking for something that you can't get. You can't go and be somebody's number 5th child when the person don't born finish.
I also married from a different
tribe,
so my own experience is quite different from yours.
Exactly.
So, I won't call it that I was programmed. I was never taught. My mom never told me. The only thing my mom used to tell me, the only thing I can remember because I didn't know how to cook and I didn't want to cook. So my mom used to say, you have to know how to cook, but when you get married, they will abuse you. And I don't want anybody abusing me. So that was the only thing I knew of. I wanted marriage because my mom is from the north and they marry quite early. So for me, the idea of marriage, I loved. I wanted it. I was one of those people, but I never believed that there was a problem that you can quarrel in marriage. That is as far I was one of those who lived in a la-la land. That they don't quarrel in marriage. Marriage is the best thing that can happen to you.
Maybe this is your parents.
As a head. So
exactly.
Because I never saw my parents quarrel.
Exactly.
So for me, that was what marriage was all about. But when I met my husband is from the Igbo tribe. I'm from Bayelsa. We really do not have tradition like that. For me to say, I can't really point out anything that say this is our traditional way of living. In fact, if you ask me, I used to see my Bayelsa and say, I can never marry a Bayelsa man because I felt we're just like that anyhow. So for me, and I was fortunate to know Bayelsa man spoke to me, so I was pretty fortunate. So so meeting my husband, it was a new world of experience for me. Wow, there's a culture like this.
Exactly.
You mean we go home every Christmas? You mean my husband's family is so large, and he took me visiting one after the other. So I looked forward to that tradition. I wanted to know them. I wanted to understand them. I didn't see myself as being trapped in it. For me, I have a feeling that I believe anybody that meets me likes me. You have a catchy personality. So when I went there, it was they had told me so much story about my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is from Arochukwu, how tough Arochukwu women. So I went with fear first of all. So anytime I see her, I was dodging. I just didn't want her to eat, so I was dodging. But I wasn't dodging because I wanted her to love me, or I just don't want her to see. So that you don't tell me that I did something wrong. That's why I was dodging. But I later became the standpoint of that home. My mother-in-law wanted anything, she will ask me. She will not even ask my husband. If my husband goes to the village without crayfish, she will say, I know gift
it up for evil man.
I know that gift is not around. That's why you came empty-handed. So for me, it was not a trap. It was the Igbo tradition was key for me.
Oh yeah.
And I just wanted that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wanted to experience that because I didn't have it where I was coming from.
Exactly.
So intertribal marriages per se, I will not say.
It depends on where you're married to. You're married to my own side. Me, I'm married to your own side. So I did that calculation. So that's plus and minus. You can imagine. So that person I'm running from is where I run to.
So you should know that our Niger Delta, we don't really have.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't really. So, but also you find the only thing I can say, you find yourself in that kind of situation. Don't try to fit in. Be yourself.
That's what I'm telling you now. When you get to where you are programmed, that's why motherhood and the way we love our children now. We love our children. When you affirm your own child, where your child, there are traditions that Igbos have that it's not. Sorry to say, I can't program my child that way this time around. To be honest, but my child will know what they need to know and go and have peace where they need to. But sometimes when we verbally program our children, it makes them stuck in a place.
Because
And it took that long. Exactly.
Exactly. She was told.
Exactly.
So and now it's because we are in the society where technology is really helping us, and we are traveling, and so we are seeing that there are other ways of marrying, and there are other ways of raising our girl child.
Exactly.
There are other ways of better ways of doing things.
Exactly.
But that's even the mother telling you that is also not wrong.
Yeah,
it's how you receive. It's also how you receive that program.
But I think that programming our children now will be more in truth. Because like you rightfully said, there will be challenges. Even Jesus said so. Just that we know that victory is sure. I'm still here. I'm still, by God's grace, happily married, loved by my husband, with 2 kids, blessed with 2 kids, and we're still pushing. It doesn't mean there weren't challenges. They were so strong that at least after 20 years, I've been able to say, okay, I can pinpoint this, and this, and this is the way forward.
Yes,
this is how I can navigate it. Exactly, because now I have unlearned. And I don't intend to program my child in that same way. Exactly. So, like you rightfully said, my mother didn't know any better. Yes. So, but that kept us in a place of of long dragging and all of that. But we thank God, and these challenges are real. But now times are better. There's a more out there. There's a way we can equip ourselves with knowledge. Yeah. With knowledge, and also getting good mentorship in marriages. Find people.
The Bible is complete. I always tell people the Bible is a complete book. So when you as an individual should be the one to tell yourself, I want to know this. I want to redress.
Exactly.
I want to relearn.
Exactly.
And the Bible is complete to tell us. You search it. Thank God for Google. What does the Bible say about being happy in a marriage?
I know it will come out. You have options.
Yeah. How, if my husband's face is green, how can I make it to be blue? Google will tell you. And all that. Google is your best friend.
Exactly.
So now it has made life so easy for us. So in conclusion, what I can tell these young people, if you're coming, don't have any set ways to say, this is the way my marriage will be. This is the way I will want it to be. If you have not discussed with your partner,
communication,
then you must live a life of forgiveness. A life of happy. You must be happy. You must be happy. Your intentions must be right. You must have good intention. There's someone say, as I'm minding this guy, make him mama die. Ha! I don't want marry any boy with mama still their life. For that son that I carried for 9 months that I love, you are praying that so we have to, our intentions must be pure and right.
Exactly. And
I'm going in there to love whoever is the new family I'm coming to be with. So your intentions must be pure and must be right. That's the only way we can get it right.
Wow. Thank you so much. There's so much to be said concerning these common challenges in marriage, and as we unfold, we'll be hearing from different counselors. I know how to help us get better. Mommy Gift has mentioned communication, opening our minds, which is reading books, practical books. And also, if you listen to her, a lot of mentorship. Who do you look up to? Your intentions. Who do you have around you? Who are the people who give you these ideas? Who have you surrounded yourself with? All these things are, part of the common things that lead to some of these challenges that can be averted. So we look forward to having her soon again on an episode, still talking about this, still opening our minds, because she does this as a counselor regularly. She has a lot of expertise on this field, so we can't exhaust it on one episode. We look forward to having you here again. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We are so excited to have you. Thank you so much. Behind the scene MDS family, we want to say thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your support. God bless you. Please always do us good to love, share, and comment. God bless you.